All right, here we go. Ken, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hey, appreciate everybody for joining in for another Get It Right seminar. We got Bob Arnone in. We all know how good his software is. And Bob, remind me again of the website. I got it wrong last time.
Yeah, it's getitrighttraining.com.
Yeah, and also, guys, there's a sample on there if you want to go in and check out the software for free. You don't have to make a purchase on it. You can look at it, sample it. I'm telling you, your associations will love it. Utilize it. I'm telling you, it's the best training tool out there. And without further ado, Bob Arnone, Get It Right.
Okay, so if we pull this up. Okay, is my blue screen up?
You're good to go.
All right, good to go. Okay, we're going to talk about blocking the back tonight. So we start with the definition, just like anything else that we need to work on. We need to understand how it's written, what we're looking for. And what I want to key on here, because I'll talk about it here in a little bit, is that initial contact that's in the back, inside the shoulders, above the waist, and below the helmet against somebody that's not a runner. And what we're going to see here is this guy coming around. He's making that initial contact right there, pushing him in the back. Putting on playthrough. He's coming out and doing that. Okay, we'll just get through a couple more scenarios here. And one of the things that we'll tend to want to look for is you probably heard people talking about the chase mode. And we'll watch a situation here. All of a sudden, on a punt play, now all the traffic is reversed and going the opposite direction. And then you can watch this guy here do that block in the back. As you're watching this, you're probably going to see something else, but let's focus on that block in the back. There he is, and there he goes. Of course, the other thing we need to watch out for during a punt play, this guy's kind of in a chase mode here as well. And then you see what he does. You know, a little bit of targeting there. Got just about everything you want, but the launch and contact with the helmet and everything there. But again, something to watch for. I know if somebody's out in the wind right now, kind of tough. Yeah, watch for that chase mode when you can see something like that. That's an opportunity for that block in the back to occur. Coaches seem to be doing a pretty good job telling their players that, yeah, if you can see his numbers on his back, leave him alone. So there he goes right there. And getting back to this whole notion about initial contact, we have a kickoff scenario happening here. I'll just go straight on the playthrough. You got your initial contact, and then he drives him to the ground. We'll back that up. We'll step through it. An initial contact, everything is legal. The blue player maintains contact, wounds up, working his way around towards the back side of that white number 3, and then he shoves him to the ground. So this is one of those situations that if you're looking someplace else, then you catch the back end of this, you need to make a decision as to whether you're going to flag that or not. Because the main concern is you've got to see the entire contact. You need to see the entire play on that. So even though it ended up with that block in the back, that's still a legal play there because that initial contact was in the front. me show one that is also kind of similar, looking at the blindside block rule. This whole notion about open hands, again, we want to watch to make sure that he's not initiating contact into the back there. So he's pushing him right there on the shoulder. You can also tell sometimes by the way they fall. But again, it's important to see that initial contact to determine whether that's a block in the back or not.
Bob, could you please show Rule 252 block in the back?
There we are. We're about to see that initial contact right there. This guy's hand going into his back and shoving him down. You good there, Ken? Or do I need to go more?
No, I understand. I get it. I just wanted to read out loud the actual rule of block in the back. So
Oh, okay. Okay, there we are. The initial contact in the back, inside the shoulders, above the waist and below the helmet of an opponent who's not a runner nor pretending to be a runner. And what I'll get into here in a little bit, if there's any doubt, if those hands are a little bit lower, or if he's going in with his shoulder going into the back, if you're not sure if it's blocking the back or clipping, we're going to call that clipping.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And with that, let's take a quick look at clipping here. And again, we're going to present a situation here that where we're looking for that chase scenario. Defender throws him down, and then the guy gets up, chases him, and then gets him in the back. Do a play through. I don't know where your four-man crew, who you have further downfield with the referee. This may be a view that you would have. Again, watch for that chase mode. A guy got burned, gets up quickly enough to go after him. He's going to be right behind him. He's going to be hitting him somewhere in the back. And then it's just a function of, do I think he was above the waist or below the waist? In this case, he was definitely below the waist. I got to call that clipping right there. Let's talk about that free blocking zone, though. So 4 yards on either side of the ball, 3 yards behind each line of scrimmage. And what's key on this one is any player that has any part of his body in the zone at the snap is considered inside the free blocking zone. Those are the lines there. So as we talk about block in the back, the block in the back is legal by any of these offensive linemen, and they got to be on the line, against any defensive player who's in the zone. So we got this guy right here that we kind of showed earlier that's going to get blocked in the back by the tight end here. But because the tight end is indeed on the line, definitely a lineman right there, breaking the plane of the snapper. And this guy here is inside that free blocking zone. Again, any part of his body in the free blocking zone, he's in there at the time of the snap. So here comes that white 85 going after blue 58, shoves him down, and the run goes through. On 5-man mechanics, sometimes his tight end might be the key. So that's something that a back judge could potentially pick up. What you have to reconcile in your mind is, where was this guy? Was he in the free blocking zone or not? So if you're a back judge, it might be kind of tough to figure out whereabouts he might be. This is in the category of a safety issue. If you don't think that guy was in the free blocking zone for the purpose of safety, call it a block in the back. That's all I've got for block in the back tonight. Is there anything else you want to cover? Is there anything in the chat box?
Could you rerun the last play?
Out of the free blocking zone?
Yeah. Are you saying that that's a legal block?
Yes.
So you consider that at the snap?
If they are in the free blocking zone at the time of the snap, then they're considered in that free blocking zone.
Yeah, but I mean, how long does that last?
Well, until the ball leaves the free blocking zone.
So where is the ball? I guess I guess it just appears to me that this is a long time to develop this block.
Yeah. So the ball's being handed off right here. It's still inside the free blocking zone. So the free blocking zone is still in effect.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, there's a lot going on there to figure out. Is number one was number 58 in the free blocking zone? Since he wasn't on the line, to make it obvious that he was in the free blocking zone. Was number 85 in the free blocking zone? You know, if he was spread out from that tackle, then he would not be eligible to do that. Not sure what just happened there.
Good question, though.
So yeah, so this is kind of your view here. So, you know, you're looking at blue 58. You know, from this angle, you could make a pretty good argument that says, you know, I'm not quite sure if he's in there or not, but he is. And the same thing with that tight end over here. You know, is he in the free blocking zone at the time of the snap? They are. So that makes that contact legal. Because, again, the other piece that you were talking about is whether or not the ball was still in the free blocking zone so it didn't disintegrate. And, you know, that kind of takes us back to this view here. Ball still in the free blocking zone. They were both in the free blocking zone at the time of the snap. So that makes that a legal block in the back right there.
If this was a shotgun formation, then you would consider the ball to have left the zone, right?
Yep. So that's we've got a punt formation right here. So there's our free blocking zone, and you know, we'll talk about block below the waist right here. One of the things that that we watch for is if their initial move is going low, we let that occur because that ball is going to leave that free blocking zone pretty quickly. So if their initial move is going down low right there, we'll make that we'll rule that a legal block below the waist. But if there's a hesitation like we have right here, then that would be illegal. So here you have two very similar moves. One immediately at the snap, he went low. You know, maybe that was an early snap or something like that. This other guy was delayed. Sometimes you see this other guy here raise up and then go down. We'll flag that one. What we want to see is that immediate move at the snap to go low. But you're absolutely right. In a shotgun formation or a scrimmage kick formation, that ball's going to leave that free blocking zone pretty quick. At that point, all bets are off.
Hey, Bob, let's go back to the free blocking zone on the play before with the block in the back. And if we could have one of the regional assigners, either Mike or Leonard, discuss our philosophy on this, because it's gonna be kind of really difficult to tell whether that blue 58 was inside or outside that free blocking zone. And when that foul occurs or non-foul occurs with the block in the back. And what they feel, what they want called, if this does show up on video through a coach. Leonard?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Oh.
Can you go ahead and play it again?
Okay. I'll go ahead and put it on playthrough.
So the umpire is going to really see this, push the block in the back. You know, technically, it looks like he's inside the free blocking zone, but if a film comes in that we didn't call that, consistently not calling that during the game, because technically he is in the free blocking zone. You know, what's the philosophy? Because I don't think I've heard the NMOA's philosophy on this. This call here.
So with that one, I would just, if it's big and obvious, then, of course we got to call it, but, that's kind of splitting hairs. Depends on what film you have to see if he's inside or out.
Right. I mean, from the press box view, we could argue that he's in, but if we keep calling that, then calling back touchdowns for illegal play, and technically the film showing that it is a legal block, and we're taking away touchdowns on big runs. That's kind of going to be hard to defend, especially when it's showing on film that play is legal.
Yeah, exactly. So, like I said last week, we don't get the best film, so we're going to be splitting hairs, and it's one of those 50-50, either it is or it's not.
Right. So would you support the flag on this if you saw this and you're like, oh, that's illegal? We keep calling that block. And, you have to tell the coach something that sends in this film.
Yeah, if you're going to throw that, then, yeah, you got to be able to articulate why you threw it.
Yeah, just based on where he's lined up.
He never left the free blocking zone, so he's... Yeah, if you can articulate that to the coach and then to me when you get film, then, yeah, I'll have no problem supporting that.
Leonard, it's Esteban. I almost wonder if the most important thing here is that free blocking zone, and what our policy, I'm speaking work here, dictates on the free blocking zone. You know, in Santa Fe, pretty much if the quarterback takes a couple steps back, we're considering that ball outside the free blocking zone because he's going to eat up those 2 yards real quick. And so the free blocking zone will disintegrate at that point, and that block in the back is now illegal because the ball has left the zone. And so we do the same thing with blocking below the waist. You know, if that quarterback's going to take a 3-step drop, you know, we're going to consider that ball out. We're pretty much saying anything below the waist has to be right at the block or at the snap. And of course, in shotgun formation, that ball leaves right away. So unless it's at the snap, there's no blocking below the waist. And I think if we keep that thought of what the free blocking zone is and when it disintegrates, that should apply to this blocking back.
Yeah, I agree. You know, if you have a tailback that's like 8 yards deep, as soon as he turns around to hand off, you know, that free blocking zone disappears. So, you know, if he's standing, and you don't see that many offenses run it, but, you know, if you get that quick dive where quarterback just gets it, turn around, and hands it to the right or left, and then back running, then yeah, that's
like a wing T formation or something.
Yeah, I mean that's obvious, but you know if they're dancing around that 3 yard line, handing the ball off or whatever, you know that one's, like I said, it's splitting hairs, and you know, we're never going to get it right, especially with the film and stuff we get. So.
Great, thank you. So I think
Yeah,
there's a
I was not going to say that any of this was going to be easy. I'm just animating what the rule book says.
Right.
So, yeah, you may not even see some of these formations, like you were saying there, or some of those plays, but yeah, that's, you know, the whole thing is trying to figure out, okay, this is what the rule is. We can at least see it right now and figure out what we're going to do with it, you know, establish a philosophy and be as consistent as you can. And the coaches then will know what to expect.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Robert, did that answer your question about, I guess, block below the waist? On what?
Sorry, I didn't actually hear the answer on that one.
So I think Robert had a question. Did you want to ask a question if it wasn't answered? How does clipping work for the defense if they're going for the offense line's legs? Is that still legal? So you're talking about at the snap?
Right.
Well,
snap.
Yeah. So clipping is.
Clipping is not legal anymore.
Yeah,
in the free blocking zone.
Right. And so block below the waist, you can block below the waist at the snap as long as the ball hasn't left the free blocking zone, but clipping is illegal anywhere on the field.
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure I got the terminology right and understood what the question was.
Yes, that was actually the question I was having. Thank you.
Okay.
I mean, there was a point in time where that was legal. So maybe about 6-7 years ago, they dropped that, just made it illegal everywhere. And for the block below the waist, you know, it's lineman against lineman. So if the defensive guys are going low too, to submarine some of these offensive guys, that's legal. Again, they have to be on the line of scrimmage at the time of the snap and inside that free blocking zone.
Right. And just to make a point, you know, if you want to show a clip real quick with the chop block, I don't know, have we covered that yet in the free blocking zone to make sure that we understand the difference between a low block and a chop block? If there's any questions on that.
Okay, here's our chop block. We have an initial contact by white 61. It's a high legal block. but then 76 is going low down below the knee. And those two things can happen in either order. You know, if 76 went low, that could have been a legal block below the waist, assuming that ball and everything is inside that free blocking zone. And then if 61 hit him after 76 hit him low, you know, that's still a chop block. We're going to play through, swing over here. Well, certainly a good way to screw up somebody's leg right there.
Great. Thank you for that clip, just so we could all visualize what we're talking about, and when it's legal and not legal.
Yeah.
So
the low part on it, that low part on there would have been legal since it was in the free blocking zone. Ball was still in the free blocking zone, but the fact that that player was also hit high, free blocking zone or not, the chop block's going to be illegal.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions? We have a couple minutes, but if not, I think that covers tonight's free blocking zone, blocking the back, and next week is pylon plays, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
We're going to go a little bit more in depth into pylon plays. That's a pretty good presentation. So next Tuesday, 5 p.m.
This software is fantastic for pylon plays.
Appreciate it.
That'll
be fun.
Does anybody else have any questions, any comments, concerns? We sent out that video from last week on the Las Unas fake punt formation. If anybody has questions on that, just send us an email, respond, and we'll try to answer that explanation that was given and that film that was sent out.
Thanks for Bob Arnone with Get It Right for putting on another seminar for us. Thank you, Bob.
You bet.
Dennis, you got anything else?
Oh, appreciate this. These are really quick, 30 minutes. We're right at 30 minutes. So like always, Bob, we appreciate your 30 minutes you spend with the NMOA, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
My pleasure. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.